Good morning. It is Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday Live, and I'm going to be talking today about how to hit those happy sales sooner. If you're tuning in live or catching us on the replay, let me know in the comments. I'm going to do a quick check here. Make sure that, I'm up and running like I should, right? It doesn't matter how many times you check this. It's always sort of hit and miss. So let's just make sure I'm up and rolling. So as you're tuning in here, say hi. Let me know that you're here. Okay. I love it. Looks like I'm on. Great. Okay. All right. So today I want to talk to you about happy sales. We just wrapped up our Captivate to Close Masterclass last week. And this week I wanted to tune in because one of the common questions I often got, and I got this during the masterclass too, is Elizabeth, depending on the stage of the business I'm at, what should I focus on? And Elizabeth, what exactly do you do to really support and help others to hit their sales goals faster? So if you are tuning in live or catching me on the replay, let me know. And if you're watching this, let me know as you think about 2022, what you think your priorities are going to be. Okay. Say hi if you're tuning in here. Okay. One of the things that I keep hearing people over and over again, and I heard it last week and I just heard it yesterday, is I know what I need to do. I just need to find more time. I just need to prioritize, and then I'm going to get there. Okay. And it doesn't matter what stage of business you're at, whether you're in startup where you're just starting to build your business, or you're in grow up where you are in growth mode. You've been around for a few years now, you have consistent income, and you're starting to really think about what it takes to really build that team. Okay. I want you to think about what this starts to look like for 2022. What are the priorities that you need to be focused on? Okay. Oftentimes we're busy. Oftentimes we're competing for more time, right? You and I have the same exact 24/7 as Oprah Winfrey, as Beyonce. And I know that you're going to say to me, but Elizabeth, they have millions of dollars and they have a team supporting them. But I can promise you that they also had a step one many, many years ago in their career, just like you and I. I've been where you're at. I'm in growth mode right now. I'm in the growing pains of what it takes to grow a business. I get it. More time, you're not going to find, right? Knowing more information, you can always know more, but it's not going to serve you until you start taking action. And that's what I want you to walk away with today. When it comes to happy sales and it comes to really how I support and help my clients. I recently had a conversation the other day with someone who wanted to work with me, and I don't do this often anymore, with what I call a VIP day. And that's literally just where they spend one day with me, and we really map out, really from a strategy perspective, either one, their next 90-day plan, to an audit in their business in terms of where is the leakage coming from, where do they have gaps in their business where they're leaving money on the table, right? And it's just a second opinion to look over their business, look at their marketing, look at their sales, look at their elevated messaging. Are they attracting the premium at the MVP, most valuable paying customers? Are they not? Do they have the right people in place to help them run their operations and businesses? Those are just some of the issues or challenges that I do from a VIP day perspective. Okay. This person wanted to do a VIP day. And I know that when her and I originally spoke, that was something that I thought she really needed maybe 3 months ago. Okay. When her and I reconnected again, and she wanted to look at working with me because she wasn't yet ready to commit to 12 months of working with me, she wanted to do a VIP day. And at this time, after having this conversation with her, I really didn't think that I could really serve her. You see, you and I looking for more time and more information, if we're working on the wrong things in our business, it doesn't matter how busy you are. It doesn't matter how hard you work. Solving the wrong problem isn't going to get you the right results. Are you hearing me on that? Say hi if you're tuning in. All right. If you're working hard and you're busy solving the wrong problems, you're not going to get the results that you want. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how busy you are. It doesn't matter how much more information you need. You're not going to get the right results. What do I mean by that? I was talking to someone recently. She said to me, Elizabeth, I'm really struggling with mindset. I really know that my business is local and I have decent business with referrals, but I need to do more online. I need to tell my story. I need to not just do marketing and promoting, but I really need to step up my social media game with my brand. I've got mindset issues and I'm really struggling with, having that one clear monetization path on what do I do for marketing? What do I do for sales so that I'm generating interest? People know me for certain things. And do you know what she invested more of doing? Getting more trainings and certifications in her expertise area. So for example, that could be if you are a beauty makeup expert, investing in more beauty and makeup training, right? If you're a real estate investor, investing in more real estate investing. If you're a designer, graphic designer, doing more trainings on designing, right? And so you're investing in more of what you're already an expert in, right? That doesn't solve your problems with inconsistent sales and marketing. Do you hear what I'm saying? You can pour as much money and investment in upgrading your skills, your credibility, your certifications, your trainings, but that's not going to bring in the sales. Your credibility and your product itself is not going to sell itself. People aren't going to look at it and be like, oh, I see the value that you bring, and that's going to generate sales. People may do that once or twice. Friends and family might do that once or twice, but it's not going to come through with consistent sales for you. Okay. This is really critical for you to remember, because if you don't solve the right problems in your business, this same time next year, you and I are still having the same conversation. All right. So I want to challenge you to really not just look at what problems need to be solved, but really, am I solving the right problem with where I'm at right now in the stage of my business? Your to-do list will never be done. Your to-do list will never be done, right? I often use this analogy, right? If you own a home or you've ever, I feel like this is a really simple concept people get, right? You're building a new home. You're going to flip it and put that new house into the market, okay? You're going to need a contractor. You're going to need a plumber. You're going to need an electrician. You're going to need all of these experts, okay, to help you flip your home. Some of you are doing it DIY yourself, right? You can hire that contractor, which is, that social media manager. You can hire that electrician, which could be your website designer, right? You can literally write out a check and invest in working with them. But if you don't know what type of house you're building, you don't have a blueprint for that, you've just paid people a whole lot of money to sit around and wait for you to figure that out. It's not that you don't need a contractor or the electrician or the plumber. It's about hiring them at the right time. It's about solving the right problem and being focused on what that problem is in your business and doing what you need to do next before you tackle the next milestone, right? When you're flipping that house, you got to have a blueprint of what it is that you want your house to look like. Okay. And then later on, you then hire the contractor, the electrician, the plumber. But many times in our business, we don't look at that way. We start thinking, okay, I feel like an imposter. I feel like it's a mindset issue. So I'm going to invest more in training and building my credentials so that I don't feel like an imposter syndrome. Here's the catch. At every level, that imposter syndrome will come back. It's not if it goes away, it's when it comes back. How do you address it, and how do you bounce back from it? That's really the key here, folks. So I want to encourage you as you think about 2022 and you think about really what's next for you, that you really take a moment to really think, am I solving the right problems at the stage of my business right now? All right. So let me just dive in right now. Let's just talk about what that looks like for you. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. Let's see if this works. Oh, that's too small. All right. That looks better. Okay. So here I want you to think about where you're at. Okay. So if you are at level 1, which is struggling, and you're making less than $10,000 a month, I can literally predict that one, you're in creator mode and your human connection, that's what this S is. I don't know if you can see this. Let me just make sure that, yeah, can you see this? Right? This little line right here next to the scarce, restless, and certain in abundance, right? You're still too much behind the scenes. If you're in struggling, you're still too much behind the scenes. You're not visible enough. Okay. That means that you're not thinking about how do I step up in my visibility? How do I step up with my human connection and my leadership? Oftentimes the symptoms look like you're dabbling. One minute you're fully committed, the next minute you're not. You're also multi passionate, where you're doing multiple things and trying to get them up and started all at once. Or your heart's in it, or it's not. Or if your heart's in it, you have little focus on income. This is the difference between it being a community project and it being a business. Okay. So what do you need to succeed? You need to focus on sales. You've got to commit to doing, and you've got to begin to focus on selling to validate that demand. Oftentimes what people do is they'll create a product, they'll maybe sell it once, and then they can't sell it again, and then they think it's the product. So I need to go back and create a new product, a new service, a new program, and sell. And that's not the case. The product itself doesn't sell itself. People buy you first before they buy you. So right now, one way of working with me as you kind of move up from struggling to stretching, right, is really inside of my 12-month program, the Customer Yes Lab. This is really key because in 12 months, not only am I focused on helping you elevate your messaging to attract premium MVP customers so that you hit your sales online faster. MVP is your most valuable paying customers. But the key here is that we really build and lay the groundwork from you to move from struggling to stretching and even start to begin to really get you to the rising level. Okay. This is why it takes 12 months for me to work with my clients and students to get us to lay that foundation work to up level, right? It's not just a how do I do a live? That's one piece of it, but it's really laying that groundwork to say, yeah, we need to make your sales hit your sales goals faster. We need to make your messaging much clearer, much more confident, much more attractive. We need to get clear on who your ideal MVP is. But meanwhile, we're also helping you rise into that empowered CEO because as you can see here at every level, you've got to lay the groundwork. You can't move from struggling to stretching if you don't have certain fundamentals in place, right? This is what other people don't tell you. They sell solutions like how to do marketing, how to do sales. You know, I've talked to so many people who've said, Elizabeth, I've done a course on how to do Instagram to generate leads, but it's still not converting for me. It's got to be the content. It could be the content, but oftentimes it's because you don't have a clear strategy on how to monetize. Where do you move from Instagram to that next step in your nurturing, right? So what do you need to stay here, folks, committed to doing? Selling. I was talking to another person recently. She's been working on her offer. She even invested thousands of dollars to get her sales funnel automated and built, right? So she has a program ready to go. And she's coming back because she hasn't been able to make one sale. She's coming back and saying, maybe it's the offer. She's coming back and she's saying, Elizabeth, I just can't seem to find my audience or people who have enough money to pay me. But when I go to her social media profile, I have no idea what she even does. So I know it's not the audience, it's her. Because she hasn't even stepped up her game and visibility to let people know what she's an expert at, right? And 6 months later, she's coming back and still saying to me, Elizabeth, I don't have a clear idea of who my ideal customers are. I don't have a clear idea of my offer. I can't seem to find the audience to pay me in terms of what I want to do. I got to create a new service. I got to create a new product. And I said, what have you done to try to sell it? And she said, I've created an automated funnel. And when I first advised her 6 months ago, when she started to invest in building this, I said to her, look, if you haven't even sold this live talking to a person, you can build this funnel, but you're still not going to get sales. 6 months later, she comes back to me and she's like, Elizabeth, you were so right. I don't think her problem is trying to figure out what her genius zone is. I don't think her problem is a lack of clarity with who her ideal customer is. I don't think her problem is a product or a program that's not good enough. I don't think her problem is her price point, frankly. She's so focused on solving the wrong problem. And I said this to her. I said, your problem right now that you should be focused on is, how do I sell? How do I close the deal? You're focused right now on your offer, your niche, when you need to be focused on selling. How do I close the deal? Yeah, they may sound like you need one before the other, but they don't. You see, her biggest challenge was she was avoiding sales. She was avoiding the actual conversation. She was hoping that the product and program would sell itself, even on automation, right? And because it did not convert to sales, she's continuing to focus on her price point and creating a new program. But price point and a new program and a new product is not going to sell itself. People buy you first before they buy what you're selling. And that's what I said to her. You've got to commit to doing. You've got to commit to selling to validate if there's demand. Now, if she had created this and I could tell in conversations with her that she's tried 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in terms of selling and her program still isn't selling, then I can go back and say, yeah, with honesty, maybe it is your offer. Maybe it is your price point. But she's not even fully invested in this. So she hasn't even tried to really sell. She's been hoping and praying that just by posting, just by going to networking events and telling people what she does, that it would convert for her. But that's not going to serve her, right? So let's look at level 2 with stretching. Here, speed is your friend. You've got to, as you get higher up the map, you've got to start looking at, how do I have clearer, more focused laser aim? How do I begin to streamline my delivery so that I can launch and promote much more consistently? Okay. This is key. Because if you only do one promotional event once a year and you're hoping to, hit all your sales goals in that year, you've got to have a pretty large audience to do that. I often talk to influencers with 20,000 plus influencers and followers, and they're telling me, Elizabeth, I can't seem to monetize more than $2,000, $3,000 a month on social media, YouTube ads. Like they get money for people who view their YouTube videos. Why? It's because they don't have a business model. They're hoping and praying that enough followers are going to convert, but it's not. You got to have a conversion strategy. You got to have a clear path that says, okay, now that I grow my audience, where do they need to go next? How am I moving people to the next stage so that they're saying yes to me? And that, my friend, has everything to do with your speed into the market. Okay. And inside of the Customer Yes Lab, that's often what we focus on, is to build up those muscles so that you're much more consistent in launching and promoting and streamlining your delivery and your marketing and your promotions. Okay. Now, at a higher level, another way that most people engage with me is more on a retainer. And this is really where I'm coming on board, looking at their business from more of a strategic advisor perspective. Okay. So it's less about coaching and teaching at this level and more about consulting and advising. So at the rising level, right, speeding to rising level, they already been around for, let's just say 5+ years. They have a team, but they're not hitting their sales goals consistently. They may also be looking to introduce an additional online income stream. So they're looking to diversify their revenue stream, meaning that they've built business traditionally through networking in person, right? Maybe joining an association, organization. And now they're like, how do I now do this online? And at the retainer level, that's when they really bring me on as more of a strategic advisor. And we're really just focused on really the business fundamentals and the business strategies. And I'm helping them identify where there's a leakage, where money is literally leaking and they're leaving money on the table. Okay. So that's another way that people often tap into working with me, because at that level, what often happens is you're so busy managing the business that you're too close to it. And so you really need more of an objective strategic advisor to help you zoom out, to look at your business and really serve as more of that sounding board, that second opinion to say, okay, where's the leakage? Where am I bleeding money? Where am I losing money? Where am I leaving money on the table? Right? And oftentimes that's the fact that their elevated messaging isn't being consistent across the whole entire customer buying experience. Okay. That means that maybe they did a marketing or a rebranding, and then all of a sudden it looks like a new logo and a beautiful website. But the way that their customer service, their team is talking about their services isn't consistent to that brand. Maybe it's, the technology and the operations that they've introduced that isn't connected or consistent with that brand. So for example, I had someone I was talking to recently. She's very clear on who her ideal MVP is. She's very clear on the success and what success looks like for her ideal customer. But her team has no idea what's in her brain. They seem to struggle with being able to identify who that MVP is in her business. And that's something that is challenging for her, because that means that she's constantly having a handhold. That means that when they're stuck, they're constantly messaging her, right? And she becomes the bottleneck. She's looking to launch a new product online, and she can't even do that because her current team has to manage their current operations. But they can't even do that because everything's in her head. Right? So that's one example of how I'm brought in at more of a strategic advisor level to say, how do you step into your empowered CEO and become that less of that bottleneck, right? Because when you become less of that bottleneck, then your team understands what the expectations are. Your team understands what the experience and standards are supposed to be. So then they're able to then execute the way that you would, but in their own way, but still hit those outcomes and results the same way you would, right? That's what happens when I'm brought in at a retainer level as a strategic advisor, really looking at that. And that's usually about a 3-month commitment quarterly, right? So those are some different ways that I want you to think about based on the stage of your business, right? Like, what are the keys to success? And if you feel called upon to be like, Elizabeth, I would love just to have a conversation about the stage of my business and how we can work together, then I want to encourage you to go to talkwithelizabeth.com to schedule a complimentary strategy session with me. Okay. That's how you're going to be able to really start to focus on really the prioritization that you really need to hit those happy sales online. Okay. And as you can see that as you begin to move up this profit map, right? As you begin to have more consistent income coming in, that and you begin to build your team, have a reliable team, this is really when you can take your foot off that pedal, right? And you can begin to really focus on other things, which is really at that scale level that I have here. Does that make sense? So those are some ways that I want you to think about really where am I at in my stage of my business and what do I need to focus on in terms of priorities? Okay. This is critical. You and I have the same amount of 24/7, just like everyone else. Okay. And I want to invite you. I have an upcoming workshop. It's going to be our 2022 Strategic Sales Goal Retreat that's happening on December 9th and 10th. And how it's going to work is it's from 10 a.m. Central Time to 12 p.m. Central Time. It's for 2 hours each day. The first day you're going to come in, we're going to focus on your vision. We're going to focus on your anchor word going to 2022. We're going to look at your sales goals and how to start mapping that out for 2022. Okay. And then you're going to have homework for that day. Then on day 2, you're going to come back with your game plan. And this is where you're going to get coaching with me. We're going to review, right, as part of the retreat, your game plan. We're going to review what's working and what isn't working for you. Okay. And that way you really step into 2022 with a strategic sales goal map of how you're going to accomplish 2022. Okay. And some of the feedback that I've gotten whenever I've done strategic planning or goal setting like this is that it's often not what you think of. There's 3 pillars that I look at when I start setting strategic goals for my team as well as my clients. And that's called GPS. It's your growth in terms of sales and metrics. It's your people, right? And it's your social impact. You see, oftentimes we've been trained, right, through education, through our employers, that strategic goal setting is all about having, quote, smart goals, right? Specific, measurable, actionable, right? Realistic, timely, smart goals. You need that too. But most importantly, when you're running your business, you need to be inspired by your goals. You need to be able to set what I call STAR goals, right? You need to understand growth comes from sales and revenue and profit numbers, but you also got to look at your people's goals. And people goals could be your own personal growth. It could be hiring on your team. It could be building the capacity on your team. Or quite frankly, hiring the right expert at the right time to work on certain projects that you just need done and built inside of your business. And then lastly, the S is really about your social impact. Remembering that your business is that enabler to the legacy that you're building. What is your goals in 2022 that's going to get you one step closer to the legacy and the impact and the difference that you want to make? That is your social impact. So if you would like a link to my retreat to check it out, I want to encourage you to type retreat into the comments, and my team and I will get you the link for this. Now, this is a paid workshop, and you're going to get an opportunity to also get the strengths and selling, right, assessment coaching with me if you'd like to do that before we do the retreat mapping so that you have clarity around your strengths, how they sell, how do you build that and lean into that, right? And then when you go to the retreat, you're going to come in much clearer, much stronger, much more confident with what it is that you need to do. So go ahead and type retreat into the comments. It's happening on December 9th and 10th. And right now we're starting at 10 a.m. Central Time. And you're going to get the replays and all that stuff. And you're going to have some pre-work that needs to get done. But it's a great way to map out 2022 to hit those happy sales. All right. So type retreat into the comments and my team will go ahead and get that out to you. So what are some of the key takeaways that you have from today? I just walked you through, right, my purpose to online profits, really the symptoms of where you're at based on the stage of your business, and the keys to your success, as well as lining up how I can support you to hit your happy sales online faster, right? This is why it takes 12 months for me to work with my students and clients inside of the Customer Yes Lab. It's not just about helping them get their quick wins in sales, but really up leveling their mindset, their skill set, and their people set, which is the people that they surround themselves with to step into that empowered hybrid CEO so that they're going to work hard today, that they're going to put in that sweat and that investment, that they're thinking about the long term of their business and they're looking to work smarter. That's really the key here. It's about charging more so that you bring in cash flow quickly into your business so that you can begin to hire extra help. And when you begin to hire extra help, you're then able to free up more of that time to step up in your visibility, to step up your game, and quite frankly, to step away occasionally, and your business will still run itself. All right. So, same place, same time next week. I will see you then. And if you want to book that complimentary strategy call with me, just go ahead and go to talkwithelizabeth.com and we can connect there. I'll see you then.